Hello there, my fellow viewers. Welcome back for another video of the Anime Podcast Show. And of course, this year marks the 25th anniversary of a legendary anime and manga series that has defined a whole generation. If you grew up watching the anime in the early 2000s, you probably already know which series I'm talking about. If you saw the title and thumbnail, that is correct. We are talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! For those of you who may not know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Started as a manga series debuted in 1996, created by Kazuki Takahashi. It follows the story of a young boy, Yugi Muto, who solves the ancient Millennium Puzzle, which awakened the spirit of a long-forgotten pharaoh. This pharaoh, along with Yugi, embarks on an epic adventure filled with high stakes, duels, and battles. But today, I'm not just talking about the story, I'm diving into a full history of Yu-Gi-Oh! And its massive influence on anime and pop culture, so sit back, relax, and let's explore how the iconic franchise came to be. Let's start with the man who created a franchise that we know today, that is Kazuki Takahashi. Takahashi didn't immediately find success as a manga artist. At the age of 19, he entered a contest hosted by Weekly Shonen Jump, and while his first submission didn't win, it helped him gain attention. He later began working as a manga artist, developing different stories in various genres. However, most of his early works were rejected by publishers. After those setbacks, Takahashi found himself working in a game store, which inspired him to create a manga centered around games, something unique at the time. It wasn't until in 1996 that his breakthrough came in the form of Yu-Gi-Oh! A story where the idea of games, ancient history, and dark mysteries came together in a way that hasn't seen before. So, how did Yu-Gi-Oh! Came to life anyway? So, Takahashi initially wanted to write a horror manga, but his vision gradually evolved. He decided to incorporate game elements into the story, blending horror, suspense, and battle themes. But as we know now, Takahashi went one step further. He made a fighting manga where the main character doesn't physically fight anyone. Instead, the battles is full of cards. So it's a card game. So that's how the development as Duel Monsters as what it is. As it's an early development of the manga was based on a game called Magic and Wizards, which eventually became, like I said, Duel Monsters, as we all know today, and we all know and love. Takahashi's creation resoned so much with the readers that it quickly grew into a serialized success. Fans wrote countless letters and demanding more about this new game division world. And that's when Takahashi knew he had something special. And a potential that he has, what type of story he wants to share with the world. The manga was officially serialized in Weekly Shonen Jump magazine from September 1996 to March of 2004, spanning for over 343 chapters and 9 arcs across 38 volumes. For the English-speaking readers, it was later divided into 3 main series. So here's a breakdown of that. So the first one is the original Yu-Gi-Oh! It contains 3 arcs: the School, Death Tea, and Monster World arcs. But then, on the next one, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist, it focuses on Duelist Kingdom, Battle City, and Tournament Finals. Then the third one is Millennium World, and it focuses on the final arc of the story, where Yugi and his friends helped the Pharaoh's memory to regain it. After the tremendous success of the manga, it didn't take long for the series to get an adaptation into an anime series. The first anime series was created by Toei Animation, and this version known as Season 0, and it was aired from 1998 to 1999. Season 0 is very much different from the iconic one. Season 0 only ran for over 27 episodes, and despite being relatively faithful to the original manga, it didn't get much attention outside Japan, mainly because it wasn't licensed internationally, and also had a significantly different vibe compared to the later adaptations. It never officially aired outside of Japan, which is why it's somewhat of a hidden gem of a true Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans who seek the complete story. But to be honest, I would like to see a reboot of Yu-Gi-Oh. But I don't know if who's the current studio now for Yu-Gi-Oh. I think they'll do it. And of course, it's about to be, well, as of this video comes out, it is the 25th anniversary this year. They have to announce it or somewhat what they're gonna do. So who in the heck knows? I know there is an announcement coming up. So I think it's the 25th or maybe the 18th. I'm not really sure. But I'm hoping they're going to announce something for Yu-Gi-Oh! While the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX remastered episode series is going to be coming in Japan. So I'm not really sure. So who the heck knows? In contrast, the second anime adaptation, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, is one of that international audiences are familiar with. Premiering in 2000, the series took the trading card game aspect of the manga and made it the center point of the show. It was produced by Studio Gallop, who streamlined the story for a broader, younger audience. The tone was lighter and more adventurous, and quickly became one of the most influential anime series of the early 2000s. With over 224 episodes, it aired for a solid 5 years, making it the most significant and long-running anime of the franchise. Duel Monsters took the story of Yugimoto, his friends, his ancient spirit companion, Pharaoh Atem, through various duels in Duelist Kingdom, Battle City, introducing viewers to a fascinating world of duel monsters. The commercial success for the anime helped launch the entire industry around the Yu-Gi-Oh! Brand and the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game, resulting in the anime's iconic duel monster sequences becoming a massive cultural phenomena. When Yu-Gi-Oh! Crossed international borders, it wasn't just translating the dialogue, the entire adaptation process went through a significant localization phase. This was particularly in the United States, where the anime was dubbed by 4Kids Entertainment, a company known for localizing anime for younger viewers. I think I told this story before, I think I haven't, but I heard about this, I don't know if you guys know about this, that Funimation was originally going to get it, but then their executives at the time, in 2000, I think it was a female or male, I'm not really sure. I heard the story before and said was, oh yeah, this series is kind of more young teenagers thing. So we're not gonna get it. It's gonna be a fucked up show. I'm going, huh? Huh? What? Are you fucking stupid or something? I'm just like, oh Lord have mercy. I'm glad they didn't acquire it. I'm glad they didn't. Anyway, 4Kids took the Japanese version of Yu-Gi-Oh! And heavily altered it to make it more prominent for the American viewers. And some of the darker aspects throughout the entire series, like cutting out darker moments out of it and specific content with other aspects, like either one would be cut or replaced, or they just change it out of nowhere. The Japanese version often contained references to Japanese culture and mythological. But in the localized version, there were so many replaced or with familiar concepts for the American audiences. One of the most notable ones is removing or replacing any violence or darker themes, or even say Shadow Realm if you said you're dead. Of course, I like to point things out is not only that, certain cards are also is the imagery or get alterated or replaced entirely. The Duel Monsters cards were kept relatively unchanged, but some monsters were. And I'm just like, oh wow, I never knew that. So, in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game was also a part of the localization process. The card game was received in its own launched, and 4Kids partnered with major distributors, ensuring that the cards will be available to retailers around the world. Thanks to the massive popularity of the anime, Yu-Gi-Oh! Became a culture juggernaut across the globe, and it's placed one of the most iconic trading card games in history, besides a Pokemon. Of course, Pokemon's very more popular than Yu-Gi-Oh! But to be honest, it's both. Thanks to 4Kids for that, so thanks to them. Also, speaking about the anime, that there's so many continuations been going on throughout the franchise at the time. Because let me give you an explainment. That 4Kids, right? They co-produce with Studio Gallup to do more Yu-Gi-Oh projects outside of Japan. And those projects were Pyramid of Light and Capsule Monsters. And I'm going, wow, that was a very interesting concept. And teaming up with both companies, that was a very, very interesting way to give more Yu-Gi-Oh for fans who love the franchise. And of course, a couple years later, in 2016, we got another movie came up. Well, sorry, before that, we got Bonds Beyond Time. And it was a crossover 10th anniversary special. Well, a 10th anniversary movie. And it was with Yugi, Jaden, and Yusei. And an incredible storytelling with a crossover. I think it's kind of like a multiverse thing. So, yeah, that was really interesting. So, the other film I just mentioned seconds ago was Dark Side of Dimensions. I really enjoyed that film. And to be honest, it brought back so many memories of the franchise. And of course, it took place a couple years after the original series or manga ended. So it was very interesting where Yugi and the rest of the gang, where they were at this point at the end of the franchise. Well, I mean, at the end of the series. And I was pretty shocked that Yugi is still around and now he's out of high school, but no, sorry, my bad. They're still in high school, but they're about to be graduated. So I'm so happy for them. So I'm hoping if they're gonna do a continuation of it, or maybe they're gonna do a reboot. Did you know that Yu-Gi-Oh was dubbed in multiple countries? Because in English, we have English countries like Canada, the UK, and Australia in the series. But also we have the French, Italian, Spanish, and German, and many other languages I can think of. Also, there's something else that's very special. Another English dub exists out there, but it's in Singapore. This version was dubbed by VoiceOver Unlimited and aired in several Southeast Asian countries. The Singapore dub, which aired around 2001, I think, and it stands out because it's completely unedited and remains closely to the Japanese of the anime. While the 4Kids was edited for the violence and characters and references and everything, the Singapore dub retained the original Japanese content without any alterations. This gave viewers in Singapore and neighboring countries the chance to experience the anime in its original format. However, it wasn't just the uncut content that made the Singapore dub stand out. It was the voice acting. The voice acting in this dub was unique and regarded as unusual, with certain characters give odd vocal performances that didn't match the tone or style of the American or Japanese versions. This quirky voice direction led to the Singapore dub becoming something of a cult favorite, with fans often criticize the dub as bad but good due to the comedic value. What the fuck? Like, hey dude, let's beat the crap out of this guy. Oh crap. I'm about to barf when I hear that rubbish. Oh lord. While the 4Kids dub was known for making cuts and edits for the series, Yu-Gi-Oh fans were eventually given the chance to experience the anime as its original intended in the uncut version of Yu-Gi-Oh. 4Kids produced the uncut versions with Funimation, and to be honest, I really enjoyed this version of Yu-Gi-Oh. The dialogue is pretty much closer to the Japanese music and content. And of course, it was released on DVD. And I wish I was around when they released it. The uncut versions provide fans with a chance to hear their favorite English dub voice actor acting like their Japanese counterparts. And that was presented in the original broadcast version. And more faithful to the Japanese version. So that's good. But unfortunately, the release of the uncut was limited, only covered the first half of the series. I think it was like the first 9 episodes, but I remember I think it was 10, 11, 12, and 13, I think, were already been recorded and ready to be released. I think what I've heard, that the uncut version was recorded, I think they recorded like 25 episodes already. So I think they had a huge chunk of episodes. It's already been completed, or like they already finished recording it. But somehow, due to the declining of popularity of the physical DVD releases and license disputes, the plans for a full uncut release were cancelled due to the legal battles, and the uncut versions of Yu-Gi-Oh! Became a rare treasure for collectors. And of course, there are some stories that why the uncut didn't do well with the other one, because the edit version sold more than the uncut version. I'm going, why? Well, I'm just like, can you wait for the uncut to... Okay, here's what they should have done. If they should have done differently at the time, saying, what if the edit version will release first, and then release the uncut version later, maybe in 15 years or something after the original physical release finishes, and then maybe you can save it for a couple years from now. But that's how the marketing is back in the day. Anyway, after the success of Duel Monsters, Yu-Gi-Oh! Didn't stop. The franchise expanded for several spin-off series like Yu-Gi-Oh! GX premiered in 2004 and ran until 2008, introducing a new generation of duelists to the world of Yu-Gi-Oh! After that was 5Ds, Zexal, Arc V, Gold Rush, Sevens, and many more. But there's one spin-off I have to mention that's particularly interesting, Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, I just mentioned that earlier. The series took the duels to a whole new level with racing, speed dueling, and even deeper plot. It aired from 2008 to 2011. I think it was 2012, I think they finished it. Yeah, something like that. And even the handles of initial dub, and to be honest, the dub itself was pretty interesting. I love the dub casting, but to be honest, they did a splendid job for this, and I pretty much enjoyed it. And as a kid watching it on TV before go to school, I just like, that was an incredible episode or whatever it was, but I was really intrigued of that. Even though 4Kids handled the dub so well, it faced its own controversy and challenges, especially in the light of legal battles and bankruptcy issues involving with 4Kids. In 2011, things took a dramatic turn for 4Kids when the company found itself a lawsuit with TV Tokyo and NAS, the companies responsible for distributing Yu-Gi-Oh! In the United States. TV Tokyo accused 4Kids of failing to pay the portion of the profits from the franchise, specifically from the merchandising and broadcasting rights. How the fuck they messed it up? The lawsuit highlighted allegations of underpayment and breach of contracts, and it had significant finances by 4Kids. But 4Kids doesn't want to do that. So what happened is they want to fight it for Yu-Gi-Oh! So 4Kids and TV Tokyo, they want to fight the bloody lawsuits. So while 4Kids had a responsibility for dubbing the previous Yu-Gi-Oh! Series in the States, Zexal was their next one, meant that the company would lose the rights to continue. But as a result of these issues, it was actually ADK, actually. This would lead to Bang Zoom Entertainment, as well, of course, in the States, we all know about it, to dub Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal. And I'm saying to myself, that's very, very interesting. I heard of these stories before, but I've never seen their dub to be released. However, Bang Zoom had already started working on the Zexal dub before the decision was pulled the plug. But with this unrelease of Zexal was caught in the legal limbo, Bang Zoom had already recorded, like, I think I heard, like, they already recorded 23 episodes. They're ready to dub 2 more, because in their contract was 25 episodes. But some of the early recordings were completed, but the project was suspended before the dub could be fully released. So they don't know which version they want to release. So if they want to release the Bang Zoom one, or if they want to release the 4Kids version. So this conflict with TV Tokyo was in the financial collapse of 4Kids, made what they want to continue with it. But with a legal trouble with it, I think we already know who won this bloody thing, and that was 4Kids. So ultimately, the Bang Zoom dub of Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal never saw a light of day in its complete form. However, like I just said earlier, that the recordings for the episodes for Bang Zoom were never completely lost. But in the years following the dub's cancellation, there have been some discussions about the unreleased material, and even the voice actors themselves, like Johnny Ambash, Cassandra Lee Morris, they were passionately talking about it, and becoming something a lost treasure for dedicated Yu-Gi-Oh fans who continue to hope someday the full dub may be released or discovered. Also, as we're wrapping up this video, I want to make a dedication, of course, but it was a sad news for us Yu-Gi-Oh fans that we lost the creator, Kazuki Takahashi. We lost him back in 2022. That's really sad. Like, I don't think we get to see a franchise that we all know and love to, have, let's say, do a redub or a recut or maybe a reboot or something and have Takahashi's involvement in it. But now we all know he's no longer with us. So I'm hoping if a new team or maybe somewhere in Japan, they will have a reboot or something to do something with it. So I'm not really that sure. So last thing before I go is I want to say is thank you, Mr. Kazuki Takahashi, for creating a franchise that we are known today for over, I don't know, nearly 30 years. And it's super duper crazy that a franchise we are known to this day, from the manga to the trading card game to the series, movies, and all that stuff. And I'm just like, thank you so much, man. And brought fans globally together of a franchise we all know and love. So, anywho, there you have it. The incredible history of Yu-Gi-Oh! From its creation to its international impact as we celebrate its 25 years of this iconic franchise. And gave us so many memories, all the duels, friendships, and so many others. So, what's next for the series? Well, there are new series out there, like I just mentioned, Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, Gold Rush, and of course, the trading card game is still continuing to this day, and have fresh new cards and new fanatic, whatever. I got no words to say. But one thing for sure is the impact of Yu-Gi-Oh! It will continue to influence generations of anime fans, gamers, and duelists for years to come. So, that is it for the Anime Podcast Show. Please comment, like, and subscribe. And I know this is a long video, but thank you so much for listening or watching this. Like I said, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the notification bell and to be the first person to access of a new video first. Cheers to Yu-Gi-Oh! For over 25 years of the anime. Anyway, take care of yourselves. Until next time, peace.